So getting a React app into Amplify is actually quite simple. So here I have a React app, and I do have it inside an app directory. So you can see here is my public and source, and this is just an app that was created using create React app in the command line. And one thing I want to make sure that we do is in this app, we're going to go to our terminal, and we're going to make sure we can run, and we're going to cd into app, and we're going to run npm run build. And what that will do is that I'll actually build, and we want to make sure that we can build here, and it optimizes for the production build, and we want to make sure that it runs. Because if this is failing locally, it's going to fail when we deploy to Amplify. So with that up, if I were to go to localhost 3000, you'll see that we have our little RPG character generator. So we're going to deploy this to Amplify, and the easiest way to do that is to have a GitHub repo already, or you can also use Bitbucket, or there's other options. But we're going to log into our AWS, and we're going to search for Amplify. And here's AWS Amplify, and we can click on it. And there are other ways to host, EC2 instance, etc. But I found this to be really quick and simple. So we're just going to get started here. And we're going to, instead of build an app, we're going to say host our app. So you can see React, Vue, JavaScript. So let's get started here. And I'm going to select GitHub. And there's some authorization steps that happen when you go through this. But once you do that, you'll see authorization was successful. And here we're going to select the repo. So I'm going to select the character generator and select the branch. So we're going to deploy the master branch. Now, connecting a mono repo, this is one repo where you have various projects in it. But because I am hosting my React app inside a /app folder, I'm going to select this, and I'm going to enter the root directory of my app will be app. Because as you can see here, my app is inside an app directory. And I just did it this way in case I wanted to create a backend directory here and have a separate deploy for my Node plus Express or backend. But as it sits, this generator is strictly front end. So we're going to click next. And in doing so, you'll see here we have our build and test settings. For the most part, this is auto-detected. And just using this, there are some pre-build and build commands, and if we wanted to edit this, we could, but the auto detection here is actually pretty decent. So we're going to click next here, and then we have our deploy set up, and we're just going to save and deploy. And when we do this, you'll see that it creates an app for us within Amplify. And after a while, we're going to see that the app was connected to GitHub, and it goes through these various steps. So provisioning the machine, building, deploying, and verifying. And this can take a bit. I think it took 5 minutes, but for example, if I were to go here to this URL, it says your app will appear here when complete. So we're just going to watch this, but as we do, there are various things on the side that will help you manage your Amplify. Here, adding custom domains with a SSL certificate if you want it behind HTTPS, setting up a test version, so if you want to, test.blah.blah.com. Password protecting the site, enabling pull request previews, and then Canary, which is, if you're using bigger, Canary is a way to kind of deploy things and have them test on a small subset. But here you see the provisioning step is done. But on the left here, you have your general settings, source repo, production branch URL. You have Amplify Studio, which I've never really touched. Domain management, if you wanted to actually have URLs, for example, charactergenerator.com. Here's the build settings if we need to adjust. I haven't touched previews yet, but there are just various things on the left here, monitoring and dashboards, alarms, etc. Rewrites, redirects, and you can play with all of these, but for the most part, you care about the apps up here. And you'll see here that it was deployed and we're about to verify, which is really cool. And the nice thing about this is that it employs some CI/CD already. So for example, if I click here, my website's being hosted now. But the nice thing about this is if I were to, let's say, change this size to 32 pixels and then commit that to Git, changed header size. And now I'm going to commit this and push this up to my master branch. What you'll notice is within Amplify, you'll notice it's back to provisioning. So it actually with just your commits, it will redeploy the changes, which is the whole notion of DevOps and CI/CD. Anyways, hope this is helpful in helping you deploy a small React app using AWS Amplify. And yeah, so to everybody watching, appreciate you following along. Make sure to follow the links down below and join the Transition to Tech Slack group. And Anton, hope that was helpful. So yeah.